Have you noticed? No matter how hard you try to escape, toxic people always seem to find you. At work, it's the colleague who thrives on drama. In your circle, it's the so-called friend who always makes you feel like you're not enough. And sometimes, it's even family, dragging you into endless arguments that go nowhere. Most people believe the solution is to cut them off, build walls, or run away. It sounds logical. Protect yourself, keep your distance, but here's the truth. That's not victory. That's only survival. Toxic people are like a virus. A virus can't survive when the immune system is strong. It only spreads where there is weakness, where there is reaction. And here lies the secret. The only real weapon they have is your reaction. The moment you understand this, the game changes. Today, I'll show you how to take back your power in a way they can never touch again. And if you find wisdom here, consider subscribing to The Stoic Habit. Join us in building the inner fortress no one can break. Part 1. Toxic people are everywhere. Most people believe the solution is simple. Cut them off, avoid them, maybe even leave the environment altogether. But sooner or later, a harsh truth always comes knocking. No matter where you go, you will meet toxic people. You avoid one colleague, another shows up. You leave a draining friendship, and before long, a new one appears wearing the same mask, playing the same game. Why is that? Because the world will never run out of them. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, woke up each morning and reminded himself, "Today I shall meet the arrogant, the ungrateful, the deceitful. But I will not be surprised because human nature is like this." Think about that. The most powerful man of his age, leading armies, ruling an empire, did not expect to be spared from liars, manipulators, and fools. He did not waste his energy hoping the world would suddenly change. Instead, he prepared his mind. That is the first lesson. You cannot build a life free of toxic people, but you can build a mind that is untouchable by them. So when someone mocks you at work, when a friend betrays your trust, when a relative uses guilt as a weapon, you do not need to be shocked. You do not need to crumble. You can say to yourself, "Ah, here you are. I knew you would come." And in that moment, you've already taken back the power. Because what destroys us is not the encounter, it is the expectation that life should be free of such encounters. Even emperors could not escape the petty and the cruel. Why should you or I imagine we can? The question then is not, how do I avoid them? The real question is, how do I live unshaken, even when they surround me? And that is where the true Stoic path begins. Part 2. Toxic people are a virus. You are the immune system. Toxic people are like a virus. They don't destroy you by themselves. They can only spread if your defenses are weak. Think about it. A virus enters the body, but if your immune system is strong, it is powerless. The same is true in the mind. An insult, a cruel laugh, a manipulative trick, these things have no real power on their own. They only harm you if you let them pass through the gates of your mind. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." In other words, the virus is not the words or actions, it is the way we interpret them. If your mind is untrained, every harsh word pierces straight into your heart. You bleed energy, you lose peace. But if your mind is disciplined, if you've built your inner immunity, the same word bounces off, meaningless, like a pebble hitting a fortress wall. Picture two people, both face the same insult. One collapses into anger, replaying the moment for days. The other shrugs, smiles, and moves on untouched. The difference is not in the insult. The difference is in the immune system of the mind. And here's the truth. Toxic people need a host. They need someone to feed off. They survive by infecting your peace, by planting doubt, by provoking reaction. Without your reaction, they starve. So the real power does not lie in eliminating every toxic person. That's impossible. The power lies in strengthening yourself so much that nothing they do can penetrate. Marcus Aurelius compared the human spirit to fire. Throw dirt on it, and the flame consumes it, turning it into light. You can be that fire. You can turn every jab, every slight, into fuel. Because when you realize toxic people cannot harm you without your permission, something changes. You stop being the victim of their virus. You become the doctor, the healer, the protector of your own soul. And that leads us to the next truth. The only real weapon they have against you is your reaction. Part 3. The only weapon they have, your reaction. Here's the secret. Toxic people have only one weapon. It isn't their words. It isn't their tricks. It's your reaction. They win the moment you snap. They win the moment you raise your voice, defend yourself, or spiral into doubt. Because now you are no longer in control. They are. Seneca called anger a temporary madness. And that's exactly what toxic people crave. They want you irrational, emotional, shaken. Once you lose control, you dance to their tune. Think of a bully in the schoolyard. He throws out an insult not because he believes it, but because he's testing you. If you explode, he laughs louder. If you cry, he grows stronger. But if you stand calm, if you refuse to play the game, he has nothing. The same is true at work, in family, in relationships. Toxic people are addicted to control. They provoke, guilt trip, twist reality, all for one goal: to make you react. Imagine being in a heated argument with someone who refuses to listen. Every word you speak is fuel. Every explanation you give is a rope they use to pull you deeper into their chaos. But silence breaks the chain. This is why the Stoics taught discipline of the mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can show me I'm mistaken, I'll gladly change. But if he cannot prove me wrong, then his opinion is nothing to me." That's power. To choose what enters your mind and what does not. So when the insult comes, when the trap is set, you have a choice. You can hand them your peace, or you can guard it like a priceless treasure. Because the moment you stop reacting, something remarkable happens. They lose their grip. They become frantic, desperate, scrambling for a response that never comes. And that brings us to the next stage of the battle. When your silence unnerves them so much, they begin to escalate. Part 4. When you stay silent, they escalate. Here's what usually happens. The moment you stop reacting, they don't give up. They escalate. Your silence feels like a mirror, forcing them to face their own emptiness, and they cannot stand it. So they push harder. The insults cut deeper. The manipulation grows bolder. They search for the one button that will make you explode, because without your reaction they have nothing to feed on. Think about it like a fire. When the flame begins to die, it flares up one last time before it burns out. Toxic people are the same. When they sense they're losing control, they fight desperately for one final spark. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He wrote, "The best way to avenge yourself is not to become like your enemy." When others escalate, when they scream, accuse, or twist your words, you do not join their chaos. You remain the calm center while they unravel. Picture a storm raging at sea. The waves crash, the winds howl. Yet beneath the surface, the deep water is still. That depth is your strength. That's where Stoicism lives. Here's a story. A Roman general once faced a furious crowd shouting insults at him in the forum. He stood silently, unmoved. The louder they grew, the calmer he appeared. Eventually, the mob lost its voice, while his silence spoke louder than any words. And this is where your true power shows itself. The more they escalate, the more obvious it becomes to everyone that the storm is theirs, not yours. So don't mistake their escalation for your defeat. It's proof that their grip is slipping, proof that your silence terrifies them. And if you can endure this moment, if you can hold your ground through the storm, you will witness something rare. They will collapse under the weight of their own chaos, while you remain untouched. But how do you actually hold steady in the middle of that storm? The answer lies in mastering the art of composure, the quiet strength that no manipulation can break. Part 5. The art of composure and silence. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. Silence, when chosen with strength, is strategy. The Stoics saw silence as more than the absence of words. It was the presence of control. Because when you hold your tongue, you hold your power. Picture this. You're accused unfairly in a meeting. The natural instinct is to defend, to argue, to clear your name. But in doing so, you step onto their battlefield. You fight on their terms. And that's exactly what they want. Instead, you take a breath. You sit steady. You let their words fall flat. The room notices. People see who is composed and who is desperate. And in that quiet moment, you win without fighting. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Delay in words, delay in action. That pause, that refusal to rush is the doorway to wisdom." Think of a warrior standing in the arena. The crowd roars, the enemy taunts, yet he lowers his sword and waits. His strength lies not in striking first, but in choosing when and if to strike at all. That restraint makes him terrifying. So how do you practice this art of composure? Begin with small things. When someone cuts you off in traffic, don't react. When a colleague tries to provoke you with sarcasm, smile, let it pass. Each time you resist, you strengthen the muscle of silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Silence gives you that power. It creates space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you are free. Because the strongest voice in the room is not always the loudest. Sometimes it is the quiet one, the steady presence that refuses to be shaken. But beware, your silence will not always end the conflict. Sometimes it makes them fight harder. Which brings us to the next truth. When you refuse to engage, they will escalate even further, testing the limits of your calm. Part 6. Freeing your mind. Stop letting them live in your head. Walking away is not enough. Blocking their number is not enough. Even silence is not enough if, in your mind, you are still arguing with them every night. This is the hidden trap. You may never see them again, yet they live rent-free in your head, replaying every insult, every betrayal. They no longer need to be in the room because they've already taken a seat inside your thoughts. Epictetus warned us, when someone provokes you, remember, it is your judgment that makes you angry. In other words, they cannot hurt you without your permission. The echo in your mind is not their voice, it's yours, choosing to keep the wound open. Think of someone who wronged you years ago, maybe a toxic ex, a manipulative friend, a cruel boss. They are gone, but are they really gone? If you still replay the conversations, if you still burn with "what if" and "I should have said," then they still control you. Here's the truth. Freedom doesn't begin when they leave your life. Freedom begins when they no longer occupy your mind. So how do you evict them from that space? You start by seeing their opinion for what it truly is: empty. You stop asking, "Why did they treat me like that?" and instead ask, "Why am I still giving them my energy?" Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He reminded himself, other people's judgments are nothing to him unless he accepts them, and once he refused to accept, they became as meaningless as the sound of the wind. You can do the same. Each time the memory arises, don't wrestle with it. Don't replay the debate. Let it pass like clouds drifting across the sky. Your mind is the sky. They are only clouds. Because the final stage of power is not silence in the room, it is silence in the mind. And once you master that, toxic people lose all hold on you. But there is still one more step to turn every scar they left behind into strength, to transform pain into fuel. Part 7. turning pain into power. Here's the paradox. Toxic people think they break you, but in truth, they forge you. Every insult, every betrayal, every manipulation, these are not chains, they are weights, and weights, when lifted, make you stronger. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That's you. The pain they threw at you, the lies, the rejection, the mockery, can become fuel, not to destroy you, but to refine you. Think of steel. It does not grow strong in comfort. It becomes unbreakable only after it passes through fire. You are no different. The fire they created, the suffering they caused, has been shaping you into someone untouchable. Here's a story. A young soldier was humiliated by his commander, shamed in front of the entire legion. For months, the memory burned in him. But instead of collapsing, he trained harder, sharpened his discipline, and rose through the ranks. Years later, he commanded the very men who once mocked him. The insult that was meant to crush him became the spark that crowned him. Seneca taught, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." So when you look back at what you've endured, do not see a graveyard of pain, see a training ground. See the very obstacles that carved your resilience. Toxic people wanted you weak. They wanted you doubting yourself. But every moment you chose to rise instead of crumble, you became dangerous to them. Because nothing terrifies a manipulator more than the person who no longer needs their approval. So ask yourself, what if every scar became your shield? What if every wound became wisdom? What if every painful chapter became the exact reason you can no longer be broken? That is the alchemy of Stoicism. To turn pain into power, to transform every attack into light. And once you understand this, you will see the ultimate truth. The best revenge is not silence alone, it is the life you build from the ashes of their cruelty. Conclusion. Toxic people want you broken. They want to live forever in your mind. But when you rise above, when you live with peace, strength, and success, they lose completely. The greatest revenge is not anger, not shouting, not even cutting them off. It is indifference. It is building a life so full, so untouchable, that their chaos no longer touches you. That is the Stoic path. To be the calmest in the storm, and therefore the strongest in the room. If this message spoke to you like this video, subscribe to The Stoic Habit, and let's keep growing together. Drop this in the comments to commit to your journey. I choose peace over chaos.